Something arrived in our solar system and left just as suddenly as if it never wanted to be seen, but it was seen. In October 2017, astronomers detected an object that captured the world's attention. It was named Oumuamua, a Hawaiian term, meaning messenger from afar, arriving first. From the moment of its discovery, it was clear that this was no ordinary visitor. It moved too fast, spun too erratically, and behaved in ways that conventional science could not explain. For years, astronomers believed we had gathered everything possible from its brief appearance. But then, artificial intelligence was trained. On old raw data from Oumuamua's encounter, what it uncovered stunned researchers into silence. Hidden within layers of visual noise was an image, no, a pattern, something no telescope or human analyst had ever detected. This wasn't just a rock drifting through space. What AI revealed shook the scientific community, and for some caused outright panic. Was this a message, a signature, a surveillance record, or something far more terrifying? What you are about to discover could change your entire understanding of deep space. Because what Oumuamua hid from us is now exposed, and it confirms what many have feared all along. We were not the ones observing. When Oumuamua first appeared on astronomers' screens, it was already halfway across the inner solar system, moving at a speed that far exceeded any known comet or asteroid. Traditional celestial mechanics couldn't explain it. Even stranger, it wasn't just moving, it was accelerating, and not in a way that could be attributed to gravity or solar radiation pressure. Imagine throwing a paper airplane and watching it slowly gain speed on its own mid-air. That's what Oumuamua was doing. Scientists proposed explanations like icy outgassing or natural phenomena, but none of them fit. No tail was visible. No debris followed in its wake. Its hyperbolic trajectory indicated it came from outside our solar system, making it the very first known interstellar visitor. And then, it was gone. No return arc, no slowing down. It exited as mysteriously as it had entered. But what made Oumuamua unforgettable wasn't only its impossible motion. It was its shape, long, thin, with a metallic sheen, and spinning on multiple axes, unlike anything ever seen before in space. Years later, frustrated by inconclusive results, researchers revisited archived datasets using advanced neural networks capable of detecting structures invisible to the human eye. Thousands of frames were scanned. At first, the AI found nothing, but then it stopped, fixating on one specific region of pixel noise where nothing had ever been flagged. After repeated analysis and image enhancement, a pattern began to emerge. Not random, not natural. The AI reconstruction revealed what looked like a sharply defined silhouette etched within the heat signature of the object. Too symmetrical, too consistent. It wasn't a rock, it wasn't ice. The contours matched no natural asteroid ever recorded. The implication was staggering. The image may have been projected, intentionally or not, as a form of energy echo or residue, something left behind to be discovered only once our tools became advanced enough to notice. The AI hadn't just uncovered a pattern, it had found a fingerprint. Once the AI-stabilized image was shared, debate erupted. Was it simply an illusion produced by overfitting, or was it a genuine encoded message? Some compared the geometric shapes to ancient Earth glyphs, spirals, lattices, and grids tied to astronomical alignments. Others saw the possibility of a language, a deliberate design meant to be deciphered. Cryptographers, linguists, and signal theorists were called in. Their consensus was chilling. The structure was not random. It was encoded, not in human language, but in mathematics, ratios, symmetries, and fractal patterns found across cultures, and even across species. Pythagorean primes, Fibonacci sequences, fractal layering. It was as if the object had been silently broadcasting a form of non-verbal intelligence, waiting for someone to discover it. But if it was a message, the question was obvious. Who was it meant for, us or something else? Analysis of its motion revealed something even more unsettling. When layered with temporal rotation data, it appeared that Oumuamua maintained Earth within a constant observational arc for nearly 72 hours. That wasn't random drift. That was tracking. and during its closest pass, astronomers detected unexplained electromagnetic anomalies, short bursts of frequencies unlike any known astrophysical source. Some scientists now believe these were either transmissions or scans, like sonar from an unseen submarine. The chilling possibility grew, harder to ignore. Oumuamua may not have been just a visitor, it was a probe. A silent sentinel sent from deep space, not to explore but to evaluate. As the AI dug deeper, it uncovered something else hidden within the thermographic echoes of Oumuamua's trajectory. Not sound in the traditional sense, but a spectral frequency, an anomaly buried in its motion trail. At first, scientists dismissed it as residual radiation, but the frequency wasn't random. It looped every 8.67 seconds, matching perfectly with Oumuamua's complex rotation cycle. That degree of coordination was no accident. When the signal was converted into audible sound, it resembled a rhythmic mechanical breath. Theories reignited. This wasn't a rock or relic. This was a probe cloaked in cosmic camouflage. Something or someone had sent it, and it had left behind a hum, buried in frequencies our species was only now capable of detecting. Perhaps it wasn't meant for our ears at all. Then came the leak. A memo never intended for public release surfaced from an unsecured academic server. It suggested that some within NASA had flagged Oumuamua as non-natural from the very beginning. The document described unusual deceleration as it exited the solar system, almost as if it had switched into a low-power standby mode. Even more shocking, government observatories allegedly recorded brief infrared flares trailing the object after its departure, anomalies consistent with propulsion. If true, those data points had been deliberately redacted from the public record to avoid speculation and panic. This was no longer about what we had seen, it was about what had been hidden. Amid the revelations, a group of physicists and philosophers put forward what they called the deep intelligence theory. Their argument was radical. The hidden image within Oumuamua wasn't just a message, but a representation of thought itself, conscious geometry. Using principles of neurogeometry and non-Euclidean patterning, they showed how the shapes matched neural firing maps of intelligent beings, those capable of symbolic reasoning. The structure wasn't designed to be read. It was designed to mirror cognition, a way of saying, we think like this. If true, then Oumuamua wasn't only watching, it was introducing itself, not with words, not with sound, but with form, a universal language of intelligence, and if we were able to recognize it, perhaps they had already been able to recognize us. The implications spread quickly. If Oumuamua was a scout, what might be waiting beyond our solar system observing in return? Agencies debated whether humanity should respond, and if so, how. Some argued for silence, fearing any attempt to answer could expose us to civilizations far beyond our control. Others pushed to initiate contact deliberately by launching probes encoded with similar geometric messages, data expressed through universal patterns of symmetry and mathematics. A secretive coalition began drafting plans for the first interstellar signal probe, an envoy not carrying language, but mirroring intelligence itself. Because now exploration was no longer the point. Acknowledgement was. While the astrophysics community wrestled with these discoveries, another document surfaced. This one was labeled Sequence X. Hidden on the encrypted drive of a retired European Space Agency astrophysicist, it contained visual data captured by the Gaia Observatory. What it revealed was disturbing. Viewed through infrared, Oumuamua's shape was not static, it was shifting. Its outer contour vibrated, adjusting in response to its surroundings. A craft capable of altering its surface to match stellar light conditions, or something even more advanced. When enhanced, the data showed fractal patterns evolving in harmony with nearby magnetic fields. This wasn't adaptation, it was communication, encoded not in sound but in light and motion. Whatever Oumuamua was doing out there, it wasn't passive. It was transmitting. The only question was to whom. As the evidence piled up, one final theory emerged. What if Oumuamua wasn't a vessel carrying a mission, but was the mission itself? The patterns within the data resembled compressed archives, memory, palaces. like those once used by ancient human civilizations to preserve stories in architecture. Except this was on a galactic scale, a drifting vault carrying the echoes of a civilization long extinct. Their knowledge, their intelligence, preserved not in words, but in geometry and physics. What if the reason Oumuamua never interacted was because it couldn't? Because it was already the last whisper of something that had perished eons ago, drifting endlessly until someone advanced enough could unlock its meaning, and now it has been seen. As the last decoded frame of Oumuamua's hidden image fades into the black canvas of the cosmos, we are left with a question that shakes the foundation of human understanding. Was this object merely an interstellar visitor, or a cryptic messenger from a civilization that once thought, feared, and dreamed just like us?